What I'd like to do is visit with you today a little bit about the difference between response and reaction. Okay? I love this little phrase, respond with respect without fear. All right? So, in the end, we want a horse to be confident, curious, sensitive, and responsive. And I think some people misinterpret when a horse is all jacked up and jumping around and doing things as responsive. That to me is more reactionary. So what I want to do is get, like just give you an example with another human. You said, hey, George, hey, would you mind mowing that lawn over there? Why, sure. Glad to do that. Thank you. Okay. And, all right. Or instead of, hey, George, would you mind mowing the lawn today? Say we've got somebody that's helping us out. Oh, all right. See, that's not respond with respect. And then if I said, hey, George, what do you want? I just want you to mow the lawns today. See, there's fear in that. Like, why? For whatever reason. So it's really important to understand that certain words that we use have a real meaning, okay? And we don't use them sloppily, I guess.
Let's take this stick and let's see if we can move the front end over here, all right? If we can yield the front end, see there? I want you to understand, what you just saw right there was a reaction, not a response. So if I can yield the front end, all right, there we go. Now let's see if he'll lick his lips here. Horses will either respond, ill respond, or react to you because of either the sense of self-preservation coming up.
So response with respect without fear. We want our horses to be calm, smart, brave, and athletic. So how do we do this? It's pretty simple. We have to have love, language, and leadership. So the love is our passion, okay? The language is knowing how to influence our horse on the ground and in the saddle, whether we're online or at liberty, whether we're riding on a loose rein or we're riding with contact. That we have a language with our horse that is very simple. And just remember, horses can only do 6 things besides stand still. Go forward, backwards, right, left, up, and down, or a combination thereof. And I've seen a lot of people that wish their horse did the first thing, the stand still, okay? So how do we get a horse to be responsive? So we need to understand that the goal is to get horses to act like a partner. Now, let's just say a foal is born. The moment he's born, he knows he tastes good. He knows he's got to survive. He's got to be a prey animal. And he knows he's got to synchronize with his mother's mental, emotional, and physical state, and even her spirit. That's how survival works. So there are precocial species, so this is where they imprint in the first 2 hours of their life, this synchronization of the mental, the emotional, the physical. So this is something that's really important. So as we interact with our horses on the ground and in the saddle, everything we can do, if we can emulate how that same and stimulate those same feelings, that's how we get a horse to be responsive. Okay, to be our partner, our play partner, and let's make sure it's fun. And again, depending on his horseality, and every horse has his own horseality based on innate characteristics, from the breeding, environmental influences, which can include feeding, okay, his learned behavior, which he can learn from you, other people, from other horses, okay, and his spirit. So let me give you an example real quickly on each one of those. Let's say that you have a horse that the environment is in, that you've taught him to be, come to you every time it's time to feed or whatever. He comes to you all the time. Everything's good. You decide to turn him out with some of your friends' horses for the week because you're on vacation. They're going to take care of them. And their horses, every time they see humans, like, uh-oh, must be Saturday. Let's get out to the back. Promise you in a week's time, that environment will change your horse's perspective and he'll start to act more like a prey animal. Why? Because they're herd animals. They're highly influenced by that environment. So like what I do here, for example, is I make sure that the whole herd is like, oh boy, the humans are here. Oh boy, it's time to eat, or whatever all those things are. We've even had horses that came here that were really hard to put a halter on in a stall. And 2 months later, they were coming away from the herd to come and say, hey, can you put that halter on me? Time to play with me? So the environment's important, okay? Learn behavior on the ground. There's certain patterns that we need to teach our horses. No matter what we do, we need to do it without putting pressure on slowly and taking it away quickly. This way we'll be polite and passively persistent in the proper position with the perfect pressure. That's how you get responses. But if we're too quick, that's why like even kicking a horse to go, they feel ambushed. Pulling on the reins suddenly, they feel ambushed. Then they'll flip their heads up. You see horses that people put tie down. Why you got to tie down on him? Because he keeps flipping his head. I said, does he do that when he's out in the pasture by himself? No. Oh, wonder what's causing that. Okay, so if we can understand that when a horse has pressure put on quickly and it becomes a habit, they're going to become reactionary. We can do certain things. I mean, the whole secret is to become the horseman that your horse needs you to be. And a good horseman always is smooth, not slow and sneaky, but smooth. Okay, so we got to be able to build up the pressure. We got to be able to get it to where they can kind of test their mettle slowly but surely. Get a horse to where their foundation they can handle more and more environmental changes, a lot of different things. So getting your horse to be true blue is what it's all about. The only way you're going to do that is starting off with knowing how to get a horse to respond rather than react and knowing the difference. One last little thing, I've seen a lot of people, do things like take a piece of wire, put some Coke cans on it, shake it at their horse, so the horse runs around the pasture with his tail in the air, and they're saying, "Oh, look how beautiful!" I'm going, "That is not beautiful. That horse, you're scaring the heck out of that horse. That's not responsive. That's not play." Now, if two horses are out there, or 5 horses are out there, and they do that, they're playing. Well, they're in a responsive modality, not a flight from fear modality, right? Hopefully, some of these ideas help you. So let's be careful to get an understanding between response and reaction.